Hey Mobi-Knights, welcome to the review of John Wick Chapter 2. The first and most important question to ask is this movie worth the price of a movie ticket? And the simple answer is, yes, it is. So if that's all you wish to know, please stop this video, go and get yourself a movie ticket, and finally watch this movie. Keanu Reeves reprises his title role of John Wick, with Ian McShane and John Leguizamo reprising their supporting roles from the previous movie. What I can tell you about this movie is that it's almost an extended tie-up of a loose end from the first one. Something I'm sure we all forgot about, although thought about maybe while watching the first movie, is what happened to John Wick's Mustang. And as you know from the first movie, he really loved that car. So within the first couple of minutes of watching this sequel, we end up seeing where his car is and how he goes about trying to get it. But it's more deeper than that because we find a reason for why he wants to get it. Also adding out to the cast is Common, who plays a similarly trained assassin to John, and he's actually quite good in the role, I will admit that, and Lawrence Fishburne. So we have two supporting actors who shared the screen with Keanu Reeves in the Matrix movies. So you end up feeling, is this kind of like a homage to the Matrix? And it's cool because it does feel that way, and I won't put it past the filmmakers for not inserting sort of like a wink to us as the audience, you know, saying we know that you love that as an action movie, so here's Lawrence Fishburne and here's Common as well, just to round off the whole Matrix theme to it. The thing with John Wick overall, both in the first and second movie, is I'm not saying that there is a theme of the Matrix, it's just, you know, a nod, so to speak. What I can tell you about this movie is it's a very good sequel. It's again one of those few examples of filmmakers getting it right when they decide to make a sequel to a successful first film. And we have to admit that John Wick itself, the first movie, was a surprising hit on its own. What I like about this one is that it also fills in the blanks, so to speak, and adds more color to or more information as to the world that John inhabits. For myself personally, I was really looking forward to this movie because I had a vested interest in understanding John, the character, further, and also wanting to know more about the world he lives in. And this movie does a fairly good job of filling in those blanks, but it also at the same time still keeps a lot of information close to its chest, which I think is cool because it's almost as if the writers of the movie feel that we as the audience should be intelligent enough to fill in our own blanks or make our own assumptions. They trust us to do that while they go about just putting together a film that they know that we want to see. And the long and the short of it is we want to see John kicking ass as John. And this movie shows us that in spades. I actually regret not having a counter with me on this movie because I actually wanted to count out how many people get killed by John Wick. I know from the first movie, I think his body count totaled to 32. I'm not sure, but the guys over at Screen Junkies who do the honest trailers, they did the tallying on the first movie. I've linked that video for their honest trailer in the description below. Have a look if you haven't seen it already. It's quite funny, but it's also, as characteristic of Screen Junkies, it's quite clever in the things it picks up on. So, long and short of it, John Wick 2 is a very good sequel. It's a very good movie on its own. For me personally, I think you could just take this movie, add it to the end of the first one, and watch both as a whole, because it honestly just feels like a natural carryover from the first one. And John Wick, for me, is what I call a polished retro movie, or modern retro movie, in that it has the sensibilities of the old action movies from the late 80s, early 90s, things like Die Hard, and it's then sort of updated it with our modern sensibilities. And by that I mean the action is more choreographed, yet at the same time it's grounded in reality. And I mean, in this day and age, it seems like a lot of our movies have this sense of need to be grounded somewhat in reality. Although yes, there are certain points in this movie where there's no realism to it, but I mean, we just accept it and it's cool, it's entertaining. But like old action movies, it's about a man going up against seemingly impossible odds, and he himself, while trained as an assassin, it still feels, like, if I was in this situation, would I be able to overcome this? And the way they carry the entire story through, it doesn't give cliched answers to any of the conflict he comes up against. It gives almost natural answers to it. So you never ever, while you suspend your belief as an audience person, you never ever sit there and feel that suspension is being challenged, if that makes sense. So that's cool about John Wick. It feels both familiar and new, and the second one just takes that and does even better than the previous movie, which again is a testament to the filmmakers, because they understood what made the first movie good and they expanded on that. And that was a concern for me, because usually when you have a sequel to a good movie, or a movie that you thoroughly enjoyed, you always think the studio is going to throw too much money at it, they're going to forget about what actually made the previous movie good. And thankfully in this one, it doesn't happen. So if you've yet to watch this movie, please, trust me, go out and watch it. It's actually a great date movie as well, so if you decide to take your partner with you, I'm certain the both of you will enjoy it. It is a little long maybe, but you never ever feel it. It's 122 minutes long in running time. And the entire movie is just one big ass joyride. And it's awesome. It's polished retro at its best. And it's probably one of the better Keanu Reeves movies. So thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please do click the like and or subscribe button. Also visit our Patreon page and provide your support so that I can keep this channel going. Otherwise, stay good and be aggressive in all your gaming.